Okay, ladies and gentlemen, uh, so I'll be standing up during this video. I'm just trying to make sure I exhaust myself really quick so that I know that this video will not be too long. Okay, so I don't think you should make a video for 20 minutes. That's unnecessary. Anyway, let's get started. I'm already tiring out. I want to teach you today how to calculate your uh, commission. Commission. Yeah, so it's 20% according to my own calculation. I've done the calculation over and over again, and the way you do the calculation is you calculate the total amount, not just the amount that was paid to you by the customer at the end of the ride, but the amount that is also inclusive of the promotion that boat is supposed to compensate you on. Everything should be calculated. So the way you do it is 20 over 100 times that total amount. Even when you go on a car trip, it should be 20% of that amount. For instance, if you go on a car trip and it's for 1,000, 20% of 1,000 is 200. So boat is taking 200. So the remaining amount is what you are getting. So that's how you calculate your commission. Next, I wanted to point out a particular thing boat has started to do, wherein they actually compensate you if the rider is a distance away, some form of distance away. So for driving to that place, you might see like an extra 300, even $100 for pickup. It's not much, but it's actually encouraging rather than having to drive that distance and not really get compensated for that, especially if the person now cancels. Of course, if the person cancels, you don't get anything, but it's still a welcome development. So credit to where credit is due. I think it's good. Next, I also want to quickly tell you about well, you know about the subsidy removal thing. You know that the fuel price has jumped from what used to be 195 to now 615. I think that's the lowest I've seen, at least around the Abuja region. Okay, the business is affected. As a matter of fact, everything is affected. Okay, but the truth is that's not to say you are not going to make a profit. All right, I'll give you my numbers for last week. Now, last week I worked 3 times, and that was Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Yeah. So on Wednesday, I think I made around 22 in profit. On Friday, I did 19. I think it was 19 or 18. All right. And then on Sunday, I actually did 30. 30. He stopped at 30 at the dot. Now get this. This is a proviso. This is an addendum to what I have just said. Formally, before the subsidy removal, I would make this profit or these numbers, and then I still have enough fuel above half tank in my car to go perhaps even the rest of the next day. But right now, by the end of the day, after I'm calculating my is it 18 or 19 or whatever it is I'm calculating, my fuel is literally at the last quarter. My fuel is literally almost gone. All right, that's the difference. Like, that's the toll I feel like that fuel subsidy thing is literally having on most of us right now. Okay, formerly I used to have enough fuel after my profit calculation, but right now the fuel is so low such that, in fact, the next day if I go to work, after maybe like 3 or 4 trips, I have to use the bulk of that money to buy fuel to continue for that day. I actually have an anxiety or an apprehension right now of buying a huge amount of fuel, because I just feel like the business may not be there for me to regain back my fuel money plus profit. So I get really scared for doing that. So I used to buy in parts. Yeah, I got tired of standing, man. That thing didn't work out. Apart from the subsidy thing, another thing you should pay attention to or you should know is that July, August is actually a dry month. I've noticed this now for some time. The reason has continued to elude me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I think students are on break and they'll be back in September, sometime in September. Or for whatever reason, I don't know. But it's actually a dry month around this period. So I don't know if you've noticed, but most of the time the business will not come to you during the day, especially on a weekday. Towards the evening hours, from 3, 4, 5, that's when you get people moving around more. But if you go out like in the morning and all that, it might be a bit slow for you. Like you'll literally be getting trips. It's like 500, 700, those very minimal amounts type of trips. Unless you're, of course, very lucky, right? You get the good ones. So, it's actually a slow month, and I believe it's still going to pick up. But remember what I said. Don't, first of all, let me advise you. Let me motivate you. First of all, look, stop with the complaints. Okay? We know things are bad, but your complaint's not going to make it better. When I take anybody's complaint seriously is when the next time there is a protest, I need to see you at the front line. I need to see you actually trying to make your voice heard. Rather than sit around and complain about how things are going bad, how the company wants to kill you, the government wants to kill you, everybody wants to kill you. You're not that important. Shut up. All right? Stop complaining. It's bad, it's fucking bad. Just move ahead. Try to find a way to still make the best out of the situation. If you can change it, by God, you're welcome to try. We'll even line up behind you trying to effect that change. But as it is right now, if you sit around and complain, man, this business is stupid, man, I don't see any of this, and I don't, it's not going to work for you. All right? So it's very important you see mindset. When you go out there and you have a good mindset, you'd actually be more willing to work. You'd actually be looking for the work. But when you're going out there, it's like, this business, man, I'm tired. Before you know, we'll see you packed on that 1-3, resting or just complaining as usual. You really have to change your mindset. If you're going to be into it, it's a good business. All right? Find a way to, well, not topple the system, but just find a way to stay on top. Like I am very, very big on advising everybody and anybody to please go offline for most of your trips. A customer steps into the vehicle. Do you mind if I go offline with this trip? Ask politely, please. Don't be rude. No, there's no need to fight. If they said you're not comfortable, great, no problem. And by the way, Bolt has increased their limit on commission payment. Formerly it was 10,000. By 10,000 they will cut off your car strip, but now it's become 12,500. I don't know if this change is effective for everybody, but I've noticed it recently. All right, so you can still take some people, you can still owe them commission up to the amount of 12,500, and then before they can then cut you off. All right, so but on my own view is that they should really reduce it down to 10%. It's not fair to 20%. Even if your commission was 0, the way it will fly to 10,000 under a couple of trips that you've done would let you understand just how much they are gulping for every trip that you're taking. All right, if you take a trip of 5,000, which apparently these days it's quite easy. Let's say somebody's going from Kubwa to Lugbe or Lugbe to Kubwa or something like that. The amount is coming around 5,007, almost 6,000, right? So from one trip you could. Okay, so I had to break that off because I noticed I've been talking too long again. I'm going off. What? Okay. Moving forward. All right. What I'm trying to say is that use me as your motivation buttons, as your motivation plug. All right, that's why I'm giving you my numbers. I'm not exaggerating these numbers. These are actually honest. All right, this is actually what I got. And I cannot show you on the app because most of my trips are actually offline. When a passenger steps into the car, can I go offline? Again, don't fight. All right. If the person is like, yeah, no problem. Most of them actually be like, no problem. And then sometimes if they say why, you just be like, be straight up with them. I'm trying to avoid paying commission to both. And that's the truth. I think they also understand that. And most of the time, they even have a reaction like, yeah, please, things are hard. Right? Most of them don't have problem with it. But I don't do this for everybody. There are some people you just know that if you ask them to go offline, it's not going to end well. So I don't even attempt to start it. All right? Now, remember what I taught you about how to go offline. Okay? Make sure you do it in a way that doesn't affect your driver's score or your acceptance rate. Please remember this very, very importantly. If you lose your acceptance rate, like if it goes below 50%, the punishment is actually suspension for 1 week, I believe. So it's actually worse than losing your driver's score. So please keep an eye on it. Let me just reiterate again. Acceptance rate only goes down when you decline trips. But if you accept it and then decline later, the only thing that is affected is your driver's score. So if you notice that your driver's score is really high, that's much higher than 70, much higher than 70. All right, let's say it's an 80 something. That means you can sometimes accept trip and then decline it later. It will affect your driver's score, but then your acceptance rate will go high. So you only do this whenever you notice that your acceptance rate is low and then you need it to come up. So accept everything so that it goes up. And then at the time when it's up and you notice that trips are coming in that you don't want, just simply decline. It will still affect your acceptance rate, but at least it's not as close, it's not so close to 50. Keep an eye on it. Just make sure it doesn't fall below the accepted minimal point. All right? Another tip again, like I said in the other video, was when you arrive, always make sure you hit the arrive now button and let it count. Try and delay the process sometimes for at least 3 minutes. Ask the person if you can go offline. And then if the person agrees, cancel it yourself. Don't let them cancel, because if they cancel and the reason they put for their own cancellation is that the driver asked me to cancel, it still affects your driver's score. All right? So if you cancel after 3 minutes has counted, the moment you reach, you slide the arrive now button, okay? And try and delay a little bit. Don't delay in a very stupid way. Be subtle about it. I trust you can come up with good ways. All right? The moment 3 minutes has passed, cancel it, and then your reason is the client did not show. That does not affect your driver's score or your acceptance rate. The second method that you could go with is the moment you reach and then you speak with the person and then they agree, actually start the trip. Like slide the button to start the trip. And when you've driven for like a couple of meters, all right, just a stone throw distance, you can then cancel the trip. This actually helps your driver's score. It actually increases it, all right? But then you will have to pay a little amount of commission. The commission for the minimal amount that was shown, sometimes 700, sometimes 900, depending on how far you have gone or the search at the time of picking the person. Okay, so times are rough. Just try and find a way to stay ahead. Okay, don't complain. It's gonna get worse. I don't know. I don't know, but just always try and stay afloat. Don't be among the people who are so bitter about everything. Okay, so I will see you next time. Till next time, keep earning. I'm actually thinking of making a video about, like some of the purchases that this business has helped me make. I think somehow it's going to encourage somebody to understand that there is actually a lot to gain. One more tip. Don't close your business by 5. What the hell is wrong with you? By 5, you're going home. People are still out there trying to move from place to place. You're closing by 5. What's your problem? You close that early. You're losing big on the business. Close around 8 at least. Close around 8. Please. Just try and stay till that time. You will see what I mean. People actually move around. Alright, for me, I even stay till 11. As long as the business is there. But please, if you're going to drive at night, be very, very, very careful when you drive. Like a lot of people don't know the road well enough and they are actually speeding. Don't do that. If your strength can't carry you, don't attempt it. Go home and rest. But if you're going to drive at night, please calmly drive. Yeah, especially if you don't know the road. I've seen a lot of accidents and people driving into ditches, driving into pavement. Please just be careful, okay? Until you're very well versed with that road, then maybe you can. But generally, it's not very advisable to speed at night. Okay, so that's all I have for you. Ah, Jesus, it's long. Okay, bye bye.